Hi everyone, we're back and we're here to talk Game Pass, Xbox's thing where you give them money and then they drive a dump truck up to your house in the middle of the night and dump 400 games on your lawn and then drive off laughing, and then in the morning you go out there and there are 400 games all ruining your begonias and you've got to sort through them all and figure out which ones are worth playing.
That's what that noise was last night then.
Yeah,
right.
An absolute nightmare. Well, don't worry friends, we're here to tell you which games came out this month that are worth your time and a little look ahead to the ones coming out next month. So, Let's go. The Ninja Gaiden Master Collection brings the high-speed action of the Ninja Gaiden series to the current generation of consoles, allowing both newcomers and returning fans the opportunity to enjoy exhilarating battles against fearsome opponents. Players will follow the adventures of Super Ninja Ryu Hayabusa across 3 of his most renowned 3D outings, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, each packed with most of the previously released game modes and DLC costumes.
Which one did they get rid of? The gardening mini-game or the...
Well, which costumes did they get rid of? That's what I want to know. Some of them were a bit too aggressively...
Too racy.
Aggressively racy.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden's fun, right? It's a sort of hardcore, very difficult combat game. It's sort of like Devil May Cry, but extremely difficult.
Yeah,
That's
it's all about the kind
I
of
get.
stylish third-person, sword-based and shuriken-based combat. They've got a kind of a weird naming system for these games because they've like re-released each one.
Yeah, the Sigma
3
ones
times.
are like re-releases, aren't they?
They're basically upgraded ports of Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
But they're called like Sigma 2 and Razor's Edge. But it's Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3.
They're quite a key part of like Xbox history, right? Like the original Ninja Gaiden game was like a famous. I think it was an Xbox exclusive, and like it was one of those games that sort of felt like a key get for Microsoft back in the days when they were battling the PS2.
Yeah, well, it's Team Ninja who also did the Dead or Alive fighting series, and of course Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. Who could forget?
Maybe they've removed the costumes from Ninja Gaiden so they can put some clothes on the people in Dead or Alive.
I thought you were going to say maybe they've removed their costumes.
No.
Like in Dead or Alive.
Like in Dead or
Beach Volleyball. No, but yeah, the difficulty is the sort of key USP of these things. These were the old level of difficulty people used to refer to before Dark Souls came along.
Yes.
So it's like, it's like Ninja Gaiden hard.
Hard as Ninja Gaiden,
So,
So if you want to test yourself against classic hardcore combat games,
it's really good for fans of kind of third-person hack and slash. If you like Devil May Cry, God of War, those kinds of things, then maybe give it a go.
And what I like about it is, even though you're a ninja, not much stealth going on, lots of very loud, noisy combat. It's good.
Screaming, a lot of screaming.
A lot of screaming.
In Chorus, you take control of Nara on a quest to destroy the dark cult that created her. Unlock devastating weapons and mind-bending abilities in an evolution of the space combat shooter. Along with Forsaken, her sentient starfighter, explore ancient temples, engage in zero-G combat, and venture beyond waking reality.
I think you'll find it's pronounced Corvs.
It's Chorus.
Corvs. Look at it. Look how it's written.
It's how the Romans wrote use.
It's like my favourite band, Chiverches.
Anyway, this game, whose name is Chorus, it's a third-person space shooter. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about it, actually. There's not been enough third-person space shooters recently, I think, and this one looks very pretty. I was impressed by all the sort of cutscenes and the character models and all that stuff.
Yeah,
looks
the kind of space vistas like you see in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And fleet battles and all the kind of planets and
yeah.
rocks and ships floating around, which is really cool.
I do have a question, though.
Yes.
If the spaceship is sentient, why does it need a pilot?
Well, horses are sentient. Why do they need riders?
That's true. So what you're saying is that the ship is sentient, but maybe stupider than a human.
I don't know.
Like a horse.
Maybe it's like a Jaeger type thing where you get on the ship and you're like linked perfectly.
Symbiosis and stuff.
Exactly. I kind of like the Star Fox vibes of the way it's presented. You've got like special moves you can do, like you can phase out of existence to avoid projectiles and like pop back in. You've got special weapons and things like that. One thing I will say, I've read some sort of previews of the game, and it does sound a little po-faced and serious.
A bit serious. A bit in love with its own lore.
It goes really deep into its own lore, and it really wants to make you... John is rubbing his hands together like he would enjoy that. but yeah, it really wants you to appreciate its story. So if you're into
blow
that,
stuff up?
that's a good thing.
That's what I want to do.
Well, Your character in this blew up a planet and killed 1 billion people, and they're
Good start.
trying to sort of redeem themselves for that.
How do you come back from that?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, if that sounds like your kind of bag, then I think you'll enjoy it.
Mass genocide.
No, that kind of story.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, if you just want to shoot ships in space, you might get a bit annoyed with,
Okay, alright.
with all the lore going on.
I'll take it under advisement.
Continuing the spacey theme, Spacelines from the Far Out is a roguelike co-op management game about airlines in space, featuring unlockable spaceships, upgrades, characters and customizations, randomly generated challenges, trips and itineraries, with a generous serving of 60s space-age flair and jazz.
A roguelike.
Yeah,
Is that
so
allowed? Are we going to allow that?
It's like a roguelike. So you're back in space in this one, but it's a very different tone. It's very sort of tongue-in-cheek.
Cheery.
Yeah, you're running an airline in space, a commercial space airline. So kind of like, in the not in the Mandalorian, in Boba Fett, where the Mandalorian, when it became the Mandalorian for like 3 episodes.
Yes.
He gets like a commercial flight to Tatooine.
They must
because he hasn't got a
exist.
spaceship. Yeah, and he has to put all his weapons in a little security bin, and then he has to sit eating like space peanuts.
Now's your chance to run one of those lines, basically?
Yeah, exactly. It looks like it's got a good sense of humour. It's got a really nice retro aesthetic and jazz music and stuff. It should appeal to like fans of 2 Point Hospital, that kind of management sim. You've got to keep your passengers entertained. You can put little shops in your spaceship so they can do duty-free shopping and you can make some money.
If they start causing trouble, can I eject them out the airlock?
I don't know actually, but with the sense of humour like I've seen in the trailers and stuff,
Someone's
that would
definitely
not
spaced.
surprise me. It's probably not good for your bottom line if you start spacing people.
Probably not.
If your space line gets a reputation for sucking people into the cold vacuum of space.
I guess, yeah. That probably is, on like TripAdvisor or whatever.
It looks interesting, and if you're into those kind of management games, I think this might scratch the itch until 2 Point Campus comes along.
Sounds good.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge reunites Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello and Raphael as they kick shell in a beautifully realised beat-em-up.
Now we're talking.
We've been playing this, haven't we?
Certainly have.
Mike, speak on it.
It's great. So it's by the people who made Streets of Rage 4, which was also an excellent side-scrolling beat-em-up. It is a love letter to the old Konami arcade Turtles beat-em-ups.
Yeah.
It's got an amazing soundtrack, pitch
so
perfect.
good. Yeah.
Graphically, it's kind of pixel art, but sort of modern, with modern sensibilities. And the combat has more depth than you would expect, I would say. Like, there's a bunch of specials, and like you can charge up your specials and co-op moves.
All the characters are different, play differently.
Yeah.
The combat just feels really nice and crunchy and like weighty.
It's got a story mode, so it's not just like an arcade playthrough, although it's not the longest game in the world because side-scrolling beat-em-ups never are. It has a sort of story mode which has additional objectives and like a sort of overworld map that you whiz around and stuff, and you can revisit levels if necessary. So yeah, it's there's a lot to do there, and crucially, 6-player co-op as well.
Yeah,
so,
it's really good to play with friends.
Yeah. Chaotic when you get up to sort of 6 players, I think.
Yeah, and they've added some new playable characters as well. You've got Splinter, April O'Neil, and Casey Jones are all there for you to play as well. So
I would expect more as well when DLC comes, because it appears to have been extremely popular, this game, already.
Yeah.
So I would hope there's going to be some DLC, maybe some DLC characters, new stages.
Yeah, it's really good fun. The levels take about 5 minutes each, so you can just jump in and do a level whenever you want. This is my top Game Pass pick for the month. I know we don't do that, but this is my seal of approval.
Yes.
Omori is a 2020 role-playing video game developed and published by indie studio Omocat. In the story, the player controls a hikikomori boy named Sunny and his dream world alter ego Omori. They explore both the real world and a surreal dream world to overcome their fears and secrets. So hikikomori is kind of like a very socially reclusive person,
right?
Almost hermits-like. So you play a very sort of withdrawn character in this game, and it's a sort of surreal, dark RPG in like the Earthbound sort of vein, but it deals with themes of mental health. So it's a kind of, I guess, like Earthbound meets Hellblade in terms of its sort of themes and things like that. It seems like it swings quite wildly between this sort of quirky weirdness and like grim psychological horror.
Wow!
It sounds really interesting. It
looks atmospheric from the visuals.
Yeah,
so.
And it's dealing with themes that you don't see a lot in video games. And apparently, I haven't played it, but apparently it does handle it quite well.
Good.
Which is good.
It's always risky. Sometimes they really do not handle it well.
But it has a rock, paper, scissors combat system based around your character's emotions with so sadness beats happiness, happiness beats anger, and anger beats sadness. So
Right, okay.
yeah. It's
Trying to work out if that makes sense. Maybe.
It sounds super interesting. I'll definitely be giving it a go. It could be a bit much for some people.
Yes.
As a warning, it does
Content
contain depictions of depression, anxiety, and suicide. So it is it's heavy. But if you're interested in those sorts of things, you like RPGs that are trying something a bit different, I think Omori could be really interesting.
Yeah.
Also, FIFA 22 is out.
Yes, for Game Pass Ultimate
Yeah, because
subscribers.
that's got the EA Play.
It has the EA Pass stuff.
EA Pass stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
That's good. The latest FIFA.
what is there to say about FIFA?
It's a really good football game. I think that's all you really need
Yeah,
to say.
if you like football, FIFA is the football game.
Yeah, it's going to be the last one that's called FIFA as well.
Yeah.
So, collector's
They have to move the letters around. It'll be called Fuffy.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be called EA Football Club.
Pretty sure it's
Yeah.
Fuffy. Pretty sure it's Fuffy.
This is Chorves all over again, isn't it?
If you like football, FIFA is the football game. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Some highlights there from June, but we do have a few games confirmed for July, and here they are. Far Cry 5. Welcome to Hope County, Montana, home to a fanatical doomsday cult known as Eden's Gate. Stand up to cult leader Joseph Seed and his siblings, the Heralds, to spark the fires of resistance and liberate the besieged community. This is the exact point at which I fell off with the Far Cry series, so I played a little of it, but it didn't really grab me. Did you play much of this?
Yeah, a little more than you did, I think. It's decent. I think the thing with Far Cry 5 is that at the time I kind of had a bit of Far Cry fatigue. Obviously 3 was brilliant, 4 was really good fun, and then 5 didn't really feel like it was adding enough to that formula. But then 6 came out and changed a bunch of stuff, and I didn't like it as much. So actually I went back to 5 and it's kind of decent.
So do you think this is the last good Far Cry game?
It may well be. I kind of like the way it's a bit more of a sort of recognisable, like to Westerners, I suppose, like recognisable environment in terms of it being in the US. Like everyone from consuming movies, games, and TV knows what a US sort of county is like. So that was kind of interesting, an interesting twist, because the Far Cry games previously had been all about going to exotic locations and stuff, whereas this felt a lot more sort of like grounded for, I guess, a Western audience. But yeah, it's good. You can fly planes around. There are multiple hilarious animals, including a bear called Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Need I go on?
I know that Luke played the whole thing and he finished it and he hated the ending. And having heard about the ending, I also hate the ending.
Yeah, the ending is controversial and not very good.
But it does have a big open world with like tons of stuff to do in it. All the kind of outpost liberating stuff is as satisfying as ever.
The combat is still great.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what Far Cry always did well and still does well in this one.
Yeah, I think if you've got Game Pass, you're bound to get £0 worth of enjoyment out of this. So maybe give it a go. Just don't finish it. Next up is Matchpoint Tennis Championships. The season starts now. Grab your racket and become the world's next tennis champion. Your opponent is on the court and the crowd waits for a promising challenger for the grand finale. Are you ready for Matchpoint?
I thought I was ready, but now after you've said all that stuff,
You don't sound
all that
ready.
dramatic stuff, I'm not sure I am ready.
You sound deeply unready.
No, I know.
There hasn't been a good tennis game for ages, though.
No, the old Topspin games. And
Topspin
stuff
4
were good.
was
Virtua Tennis used to be good as well.
2011.
More arcadey. Yeah.
Like 10 years since a good
That is wild.
tennis
That
game.
is wild.
Early previews of this indicate that the tennis feels good, which is the main thing. It has some licensed players in it. It's only got 16 licensed players, 11 male
Right.
and 5 female, which is a bit weak. One of the licensed players is legend of the sport Tim Henman,
Okay.
who has
fair
won
enough.
how many Grand Slams?
0, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 0 Grand Slams.
Well, I've won 0 Grand Slams, so can I be in the game as a
You could
tennis
be-
legend?
Are you a legend of the sport?
I'm undefeated at Wimbledon.
You ate the most. Yeah, that's true. You make an excellent point. I
Yeah.
can't argue with that.
I'm undefeated at Wimbledon, and I've won the same amount of Grand Slams as Tim Henman. So maybe
It just occurs to me that I'm undefeated in the Formula One World Championship.
exactly. So
Where's
you're in the
my
game.
high-profile sponsorship and put me in the game, please? A lot of the stadiums look very similar to real stadiums. It aesthetically, it's like broadcast quality visuals.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether it would look the part, and it kind of does. It's just missing the licenses. But hey, if you give this one a go and you become a fan, and it gets lots of players, maybe they'll secure some licenses for the next one.
Yeah. Or Add more Tim Henmans.
Or add, an army of Henmans.
Tim's Henman.
Henmania, they'll call it.
Out on July the 19th, we have As Dusk Falls. Explore the entangled lives of two families across 30 years in an original interactive drama from Interior/Night. Starting in 1998, with a robbery gone wrong, the characters' lives depend on the choices you make. Every family has secrets, every secret has a price. Do you remember this one from, Xbox's
It's visually striking,
conference?
very, very cool looking, and it sounded like there's going to be a lot in the way of sort of branching narrative. And
yes, it looks kind of like a graphic novel. It's got that sort of vibe to it. The team for this is led by Caroline Marchal, who's formerly of Quantic Dream, so it seems kind of inspired by that sort of Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, like a prestige drama based heavily on your choices.
But crucially, without the influence of David Cage, which for me is a plus point.
It's a plus, yeah. Let's see how they do without David Cage doing
much better, maybe,
in the background. For people who like that kind of Life is Strange style choice-based narrative, I think this could be a sort of nice replacement for that while you wait for the next thing from those guys.
I think this is perfect. This is perfect Game Pass fodder. It's a bit like. You know how you'd watch a Netflix series or something for something narrative and juicy, and I think this is going to be great. So it's got 8-player co-op as well, right? So
how does that work?
I don't know. I mean, we played House of Ashes, the Dark Pictures thing, in co-op, and that was really fun making those often conflicting decisions.
We each decide we want the story to go in a completely different direction, just pulling against each other.
So the idea of 8-player co-op and a kind of interactive party game narrative experience is really intriguing to me. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. It's Game Pass on day one, so it's not out yet, but it's out on July the 19th, so we'll find out if it's any good then.
I'm excited.
Finally, we have Immortality, which is hitting Game Pass on July the 26th. Marissa Marcel was a film star. She made 3 movies, but none of the movies was ever released, and Marissa Marcel disappeared. An interactive trilogy from Sam Barlow, creator of Her Story.
I've not been in any movies that have been released, so I guess I'm a film star as well as a Formula One driver.
Hey, yeah, that's a good point. This is billed as investigative horror, which is, yes, please.
It's like Her Story, isn't it?
That sounds, yeah.
Which is cool. A very good game.
Yeah, it's an FMV game, so already I'm on board. So it's different to the way that Her Story played out in that you're still trying to solve a mystery, but in this one, it's an actress who was in these 3 films, and you have to dig through an archive of clips of these films and then sort of piece together the plot of each movie.
Oh,
and there's clues in the movie as to what happened to her. And
wow.
Instead of Her Story where you're linking words together, it's about finding visual objects and sort of tracing their continuity through the clips.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which sounds really interesting. If it's like a piece of jewellery that's only in this one film and you can sort of be like, so this must be from that film.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
It sounds really interesting, bit more so than the way that it played out in Her Story.
Yeah.
Which was like sound clips and stuff.
There are people on movies whose job is continuity, and they're probably going to look at this and go, great, more work.
Real busman's holiday.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But
for everyone else, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks interesting and creepy, and there isn't really a strong horror vibe from the trailers, but the creator keeps describing it as a horror game, so it sounds like there might be something a bit sort of extra sinister.
Maybe man was the real monster.
Maybe. But yeah, it looks interesting, and I love an FMV game, and I love a detective story, and I love horror.
Her Story was phenomenally well received, so it should be good.
Yeah, watch out for this at the BAFTAs, I imagine. But that is coming out on the 26th of July, so right at the end. But keep an eye out for that one as well. Okay, so that was what's coming to Game Pass this month, and a look back at some of the highlights from last month. Do you have a top game?
Yes, Ninja Turtles.
It's Ninja Turtles, isn't it?
It's Ninja Turtles.
It's not really a difficult choice this
month. But I like the look of As Dusk Falls as well, which is on the way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Immortality. I think I'm going to get some FMV.
That makes it sound like you've got some plan to build a Lazarus pit.
Looking forward to Immortality. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to get that going. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe for more of this kind of thing from Outside Xbox, and enjoy your Game Pass games. And we'll see you next month. Bye.